Hello everybody, Joe Bagdones here, welcome back for another episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa. Sorry about the little delay in uploads there. Yeah. 2 days ago, just non-stop brownouts all day long. It's like I was transported to fucking Johannesburg. Wild. Never had that happen here. Like, and it wasn't like a whole, like, citywide thing. It was, like, pretty much located, to just, like, my neighborhood. I don't know what they were doing. Just really shitty electrical work, I guess, around here, which tracks because I've had transformers on my street just like explode before. Just old shitty municipal wiring, I guess. And yesterday was the 4th of July. Didn't do anything, mainly just because I felt like shit the entire day. I woke up, killer headache. It was hot. It was humid. I just felt drained. I think the heat was just getting to me. It's been a real hot couple of days. It was a real scorcher out today too. Real humid too. It was like 80+% humidity and like low 90s, which, you know, isn't terrible, like just generally heat wise, but add that humidity on it. I was working outside all day. Kind of drained, not gonna lie. But came back home, drank an entire pot of coffee because caffeine is a great rehydrator, right? And now to cool back down, I made a nice big old fashioned, which when I say big, I definitely fucked up and added way too much whiskey. An old fashioned is essentially just whiskey, but you're supposed to use like one of those big square like bartending ice cubes that takes up the whole glass and just kind of fill up around it. I obviously don't have one of those, so I just chucked a handful of ice in my whiskey glass, and just like, yeah, I'll just fucking eyeball pour it up. And once it was in the glass, I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's essentially like an entire glass of whiskey. So I just added more and more ice to help water it down. I didn't have any oranges, which is kind of disappointing because you're supposed to do like a little orange, like take the peel and kind of spritz it, like kind of twist it and shoot all the oils into the drink and then garnish with the peel. But I'll live without that. I have my Angostura bitters. I threw a macchiato cherry in there. And here's the little trick that I do is I pour a little bit of the juice from the cherry jar into it because I like them a lot. Comfort food for me reminds me of my childhood when my mother was working as a waitress at like a kind of dinner bar place, and on the nights where couldn't get a sitter, I would go in and just kind of sit at the bar counter, and the bartender would just make me like Shirley Temples, and I would eat all the macchiato cherries and like lemon slices and orange slices until her shift was over. Good times. Anyway, you're not here to hear me wax reminiscently on my long-gone childhood. I say feeling the back of my head, which is, a little, starting to feel the breeze a little more back there in the past year or two. But, you know, I can't see it from the mirror, so I can just pretend that it's not there. Unfortunately, it's not bad. Like, still fully haired back there. It's just not as much as it used to be. Which hurts a lot. I'm fine with the grays. The grays make me look sophisticated. But patches, that's a little much, you know. Takes away from like the, oh, I didn't even know there was like a sidebar menu. Huh, look at that. Ooh, there's a high text button. The more you know. Anyway, it's been like 5 minutes. You don't want to hear me rant anymore. Let's go. I said in multifaceted eyes, watch the two from somewhere. I didn't mean to click. I meant to click to transfer, you know, control to my main monitor so I could use my mouse wheel to move the text. Multifaceted set of eyes, watch the two from a distance. Eyes belong to a spider. It hangs upside down from the roof of a house. Its motionless gaze fixed on the children's backs. It is indeed a spider, but no spider of this world. Measures at least 2 meters in length. with 8 segmented legs that could hold a fully grown human in their grasp. Its abdomen alone is larger than a barrel of wine. Its enormity is the stuff of nightmares, and its hue renders it only more monstrous. The spider is crimson, the color of fresh blood. Though shrouded in darkness, it resembles more of the tint of rotting flesh. Okay, like rot? Like actual, like, gross decay? It's kind of like more of a grayish kind of... There's not really much red or pink to it. It just kind of... It turns to ew. Its skin gives off a cold, dull shine, like that of steel. No, it is steel. A giant spider forged from crimson steel, a fiend plucked from the pages of a children's picture book. As the 2 students fade into the distance, the spider's compound eyes blink once. Then it stirs from its perch. Does it intend to follow the 2? Or has it some other, unfathomable purpose? One can hardly imagine such a creature sating its appetite on flies. Whatever its intentions, the spider is interrupted before it can carry them out. There is no sound, only a presence, the sense of something shooting across the rooftops. The spider freezes, and some of its many eyes swivel in their sockets. Something has appeared across the way, standing tall on the roof of a house. It is shaped like a man, but that is one thing it cannot be, for it too has the shine of steel. It is a suit of armor, its hue a dark, burnished yellow. But a mere suit of armor cannot appear like a gust of wind. The soaring leap and flawless landing is just performed are proof that it is something other. A tsurugi. A musha. The brass-colored musha's lightless eyes glance at the departing children, then shift their focus to the metal spider. There's no hint of warmth in their gaze. The same can be said of the spider as it returns the musha's stare, though in the spider's case, it is doubtful whether it could show warmth if it tried. The 2 hold each other's gaze for a few seconds more, and then... The musha bursts from the roof with the speed of a sudden gale. The blade in its hand lashes out, a bolt of lightning from which nothing can escape. But the spider's speed is no less. Its crimson bulk darts into the air, leaving only a sharp gust of wind to fall prey to its enemy's sword. Undamaged, it alights atop a tree. The sight is comical, a giant spider sitting on green leaves as though it were a comfortable pillow. Comical, yes, and all the more terrifying for it. Not one branch is cracked under the metal creature's weight. But the musha, too, is unbound by nature's laws. Undaunted by its failure, it lands effortlessly upon the side of the building, seemingly in defiance of gravity. Then, without a moment's hesitation, leaps to the attack once more. Just notice I still have, like, some simple syrup on my fingers. I was, like, touching my mouse. I'm like, why is it fucking sticky? And I'm like, oh yeah, I added some to my drink. But I'm an oaf, so I got it everywhere. The spider flees. This time, however, that is not all that it does. Glittering silver threads fan across the sky, woven of steel and loosed from the spider's jaws. In the blink of an eye, the threads form a net that blots out the moon. The musha plunges straight into their midst, unable to react fast enough to avoid them. The steel threads wind around its body, binding the musha tight. It seems like something from a fairy tale, a cocoon suspended between 2 houses. What will emerge, a man might wonder, and tremble at the thought. The answer is nothing. Nothing will emerge. This is not a chrysalis spun to create life, but a cage erected to contain it. Steel threads are a mighty prison. What span of time will pass before the condemned's sins are forgiven, and he is released to roam the world once more? A decade, perhaps? A century? A millennium? Less than a heartbeat, it would seem. A flash, and the musha's blade emerges from within the cocoon. 2 strokes, and the steel threads are reduced to confetti. Thus, the inescapable prison is shattered mere moments after it was built. The law represented here is as simple as it is invulnerable? Yeah. Bars cannot hold one whose loose strength surpasses them. The spider's strength is no match for the Musha's. Even its mighty threads are but trifles before the enemy's sword. This is only to be expected. It is Musha who rule the battlefield, Musha before whom all others must grovel. What can defeat a Musha? Only a stronger Musha. Spider doubtless knows this law well. When the freed Musha scans the area, it sees no sign of its quarry. Spider must have used that brief instant of captivity to escape into the darkness. Nothing remains to mark its trail. The Musha turns its head, but the two students are also gone from sight. What thought passes through the Musha's mind? Perhaps it thinks nothing at all, but for a moment, at least, the Musha appears pensive, and then it too vanishes into the night. Cool.
Hi. その池谷和夫君が行方不明になった時のことについてお尋ねしたいのですが。
はあ、そう言われてもの。
Yeah, oops.
ありゃ、いつのことだったかの。
Just one of the many.
約半年前。
Oh.
交流41年。
Bro, I
4
can
月
barely remember
19
things that
日
happened 2 months
土
ago.
曜日です。
I can barely remember things that happened last week.
ああ、そう言われてもの。ピンとこねえの。
安田のじいちゃん、春のやぶさめの前日だよ。
おお、そうかそうか。やぶさめの前の日なんだの。なんだ。あんたも最初からそう言えよ。
失礼いたしました。
We have no trouble finding Officer Minato the next day. All he had to do was follow the unique ore of misfortune emanating from his every pore. It only took us an hour. Something else, all right. Don't mean our tracking skills.
自分に近づくのは
Yeah,
危
but you
険
have a
だ
full
と
character sprite and voice
簡潔
acting,
にご
so
説明したはずです。
it means you're important to follow.
説明に不備、あるいは誤解を招く箇所があったとは思えないのですが。
たまたまです。
散歩中です。
What a quinky dink.
自分探しの旅の途中です。
いや、そういえばこんなところで偶然ですね、港さん。
Officer Minato holds a hand to his forehead for a few seconds, then resumes walking. We follow a short distance. We all happen to be heading in the same direction. Purely coincidence, of course. The officer moves from place to place, asking about the people who've disappeared from the neighborhood. Looks like he's really doing what he said he would.
ごめんください。
なんじゃやったわ。
駄菓子屋さん、大丈夫だから。
Uh-huh,
ちょ
laid
っ
on
と
thick.
話を聞いてあげて。
About those eyelashes.
おお、こなっちゃんじゃないか。なんだ、あの子の知り合いかいあんた。
Don't question a fully grown man being friends with a high school student. You know, not pathetic at all. Also not creepy whatsoever.
ええ。卒字ながら。
The only scenario you should be quote unquote friends with a minor is if like they're your other friend's like sibling or something. That's like one of the only scenarios where I can see it being like relatively socially acceptable. Don't talk with kids, don't look at them, don't interact. They don't exist, they don't pay taxes, they're not real people. Their opinions are invalid.
かなり致命的に怪しい男。貴様、さてはこの鬼柔道、材木座の大蔵に放たれた刺客か。
Okay.
違います、大村先生。その人はただの怪しい人です。
なんじゃ、ただの怪しい男か。それ、
はい。少々お伺いしたいことが。もし、そこの方。
Okay, this isn't gonna go well.
怖い人に声かけられた。
That's the proper response.
ああ、 怖くないぞ。ほれ、芋飴あげるから
potato candy.
ちょっとこの人のお話聞いてあげような。
ありがとう
I'm
ゆ
trying to
ひ
think.
兄ちゃん。それで何おじさん。
Also, unnamed girl's voice actress also sounds familiar. It's like it's firing a neuron in my brain, but I have no idea where I could possibly place it. After the umpteenth house, Officer Minato stops in the middle of the street. So do we. He stands motionless for a few moments, perhaps considering his options, then turns around and walks up to me.
お話があります。
実は俺もあります。
では、お先にどうぞ。
Oh, how polite.
ありがとうございます。
I bow, pause to inhale, then say,
港さん、警官に向いてないっすね。
I mean, it's why, like, all cop movies, they have a partner, you know, buddy cop, you know. One who's good at the detective stuff, and one who's good at, like, the people stuff. Wow, he looks really depressed. Guess he didn't need me to tell him that.
そのご指摘には、返す言葉を持ちません。
いやー、才能の問題ではないような。
Yeah, but he's passionate about it. I couldn't agree more. We expected he might hit a few roadblocks in his investigation, seeing as he's not from around here, but it looks like there's an even bigger problem.
こう言うとうぬぼれてるみたいで嫌だけど、私たちがいなかったらほとんどの人に話聞けてないよな。
It just means you guys need to form like a little Scooby-Doo mystery hunter gang.
いえ、
You know, make up for each other's
全くもって
weaknesses,
その通り
friendship is
でしょう。
power, and all that.
それを踏まえて、お伺いします。
はい。
Officer Minato faces us square on, as though we were in some formal interview rather than the middle of a busy street.
新田雄飛さん、来栖の小夏さん、
Can the deputy, like, deputize other
稲
people?
見忠康さん、
Is it like a pyramid scheme? He remembers their names perfectly, even though he only heard them once, and right after being conked on the head.
あなた方は、風間律さんの捜索を中止するつもりはないのですね。
ありません。
My answer is immediate. There's no point backing down on this point. I feel like I read that wrong. There's no backing down on this point. Yeah, I put point in there twice. But I can hardly expect to persuade him just like that. I rack my brains for the right words.
港さんが正しいのはわかります。でもそれでも俺は律を探すことが間違ってるとは思えなくて、それは俺たちがすべきことなんじゃないかって。
Yeah, just hit him with the just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right quote. He'll get it.
すいません。うまく言葉になんないです。でも俺は律を探すために何かしたいし、そうするべきだとも思うんです。
Damn. Why can't I come up with anything better to say?
僕も同意見です。今のが意見としての体裁を整えていたかどうかは議論の対象になるでしょうが、それはともかく。
He got the feelings across.
生徒教養の存在を根本から疑いたくなる説明でしたけど、ヒーリングとかそういうところでは同意できます。
お前ら。
Look, some people just aren't great at, you know, expressing themselves. I hate you guys. Officer Minato listens dutifully, then mulls it over for a moment before nodding to himself.
傀儡を操るは安く、詩人をとどめるは堅し。全く、是非もない。
あ？
Yeah, he gets it.
了解しました。自分と同道されるのであれば、今後は近接を求めます。
Mm-hmm.
最善までの距離では、保安の点でも協力の点でも、適切と言えません。
あ？
Yeah, if someone like lunges out to stab you, you can't jump to protect you. His speech patterns are a little hard for me to parse, but I think what he's basically saying is, okay.
よっしゃ
はしゃがないはしゃがない。恥ずかしいから。
まあいいじゃないか、小夏。
Believe me, I'm plenty embarrassed. But I just can't help it. I'm ecstatic that I get to help this bumbling but trustworthy detective look for Ritsu. I know nothing has changed, but at the same time, I feel like we're already one giant step closer to finding her. Tadayasu and Konatsu probably feel the same way. Their tone is teasing, but their smiles are genuine. Seeing this, I raise one more celebratory shout. They exchange an exasperated glance, then join me. Officer Minato, however, doesn't crack a smile. The first thing we do is head for the bamboo grove. It's the kind of place only locals know. There's nothing really special about it, so Officer Minato would have had a hard time finding it without us. The instant we set foot inside the grove, old Tanaka comes racing out to drive us off. I swear, he must have radar or something in that shack of his. But even the Lightning Emperor knows when to fall back. Once Officer Minato flashed his sunburst, he reluctantly allowed us onto his property.
伯爵とした方です。感服しました。
あれでも最近は多少おとなしくなってるんですよ。
I was gonna say it's good to be lively in your old age, but going by the sound of it, you know, just might be bad for his heart.
私あれ久しぶりだったから腰まで響いたよ。
素晴らしい肺活量でした。あの頃
At least he's getting his cardio in, you know,
長寿を保た
doing
れる
his
ことで
daily
しょう。
sprints into the bamboo grove to fucking yell at kids.
周りの人間の寿命がその分削られると思うとどうも祝福できないんですけどね。
いささか郷愁を覚えます。自分の母も
Oh, great.
感情が激するとあのような怒声を発する人でした。
So you came from a
酒が切れた
good
と言って
household.
は騒ぎ、それを耳にするたび自分は安らかな心地になり、
だいぶ個性的な旦那
It's
風
like
景のような。
the crashing of an ocean waves, you know, just lulling him to sleep.
いつぞや自分が瀕死の重傷を負った折、その恋に命を救われたことがあるのです。
Alright.
なるほど。その時お母さんが土星一発で泥棒を追い散らして救ってくれたんですね。
それはすごいな。
はい。あの時自分はいつの間にか鼓膜が破れて三半規管を損傷し、割れたガラスが背中に刺さり出血多量で失
Yeah,
神
I've
してい
had
たようで
volleys
すが
of, you know, rifle fire go off next to my head before,
母のおかげで
without
しょう。
any ear protection on, and we were right up against a wall too, so all the sounds just fucking ricocheted right off back into my head. I straight up felt like I had my head in a fishbowl for a couple of days. It's pretty not great. And for a while after that, my eardrum would just start twitching, but because it's your eardrum that's doing it, it's making a thumping sound. And there's no way to like cover it up because you put your hand on your ear and it just gets louder.
いい話ですね。
Turns out I ended up with like no permanent hearing damage from that. Like I get my annual hearing test done and they're like, "Yep, you did better than last year." And I'm like, I don't see how that's literally possible, but I'm gonna take your word for it. I feel like they definitely just fudged the numbers so that way, once I retire and go through the fucking VA, they can be like, "Yep, hearing loss isn't service related. It says here that you suffered no hearing damage whatsoever." And I'm like, "What? Huh?"
ありがとうございます。
それってつまり瀕死の重傷を負わせたのはお母さんなの
Good
では。
tactic. You know, show them that you're a fucking psycho. Like I will fucking kill my own son as a power move on you. Like, what are you gonna fucking do about it, huh? The wind carries the burbling of the nearby river to our ears. We walk on, scanning the area through the thick bamboo stalks. Well, Tanaka might be too busy fighting off intruders to tend to the grove. It's almost impossible to see past the leafy fronds. Looks like it's gonna take some lake work. But, just as I resign myself, Tadayasu lifts his arm and points.
あれ？
どうした？
All this bamboo's reminding me I have to go out to my yard and, like, cut down all the bamboo growing along my fence. My neighbor has, like, 30-foot tall bamboo stalks, you know, on their side of the property as, like, I don't know, as like a privacy thing, but it's an invasive plant, and it spreads like a weed, and it grows, like, the root system goes under my fence into my yard. So it's like every, like, week or two I have to go out there with, like, it's essentially a golf club with, like, a fucking blade on the end, and I just kind of go around and whack all the bamboo stalks that are sprouting in my yard.
確かに。
Officer Minato follows Tadayasu's finger and nods his agreement. With my merely average eyesight, it's difficult to make out what has captured their attention. As we get closer, however, I see what Tadayasu meant. A whole clump of bamboo stalks has been cut down, forming a clearing about the size and shape of a sumo ring. The severed stalks lie scattered outside the circle.
こないだじいさんが言ってたのはこれか。
ああ、竹林が荒らされたってやつ？
そういえばそんなこと聞いたね。
It's crazy to think we had anything to do with this. Even my untrained eye can tell that these cuts are way too smooth to have been made with regular tools.
ナタかな。
斧かもね。どっかの不良が憂さ晴らしでもしたかな。
Just breaking shit.
いるの？その暇人。
いるよ。暇を舐めてはいけないね、小夏。貧困と不満と同じように暇と退屈の犯罪の温床たる資格は十分なんだって昔の人が。
違う。Officer Minato has been crouched by a cut stalk, examining it this whole time. Now he speaks, though his eyes are still fixed on the damage.
刃の入り方が鋭すぎる。切り口が平坦すぎる。
Only a katana couldn't have been any other bladed weapon?
地面に切り込みの跡が。つまり、打ち手は力任せに切っている。それが
Like they're really trying to hit someone?
こんな鮮やかな切り口を作る。刀の利だけでは足りない。
Yeah, it's like those videos you see of like
凡
the
俗にして非凡。
like the sword expositions where they have like random people come up and try their hand at like cutting through the God, what is it? It's like the straw mats that are rolled up, and like someone without any proper technique, like they just kind of thwack the sword in it and it gets like 2 inches in, and then someone who knows what they're doing can cut through like 5 of them in one swipe.
武者だ。
His tone is absolutely certain.
じゃあ
おっちゃんが言ってた通り、あの夜ここに六原の武者がいた。
Doing something that involves swinging around a
っ
sword.
てことになるのかな。
Musha was here the night Ritsu disappeared. So, this is where Ritsu was attacked? It's been around and scanned the area. There's gotta be something, some sign of her.
足跡とか。
It's been days, bud.
ダメだね。一昨日の明け方に降った雨で消されたかな。
他にもなんかあるでしょ？持ち物とか。
見当たらないけど。
六原の武者ならば、技量未熟というのは解せない。ざれていたか。
Officer Minato hasn't moved. Talking to himself now, paying us no mind. Looks like he never expected there to be any physical evidence lying around.
だがそれにしても、どこから現れた？寄港すれば襲撃も離脱も一瞬で済む。
You see any holes in the canopy?
この近隣で爆音、
You know,
轟音
like
の
a
確
fucking
認情報
flying suit of armor would punch through.
え？
Takes a second to realize he was speaking to us.
すごい音ですか？いや、そういう話は。
聞かなかったですね。もしそんなことがあったら、田中のじいさんが大騒ぎしてると思うんですけど。
Yeah, dumb kids setting fireworks off on my
他
property.
人が立てる騒音にはやかましいもんね、あの来邸。
They say people around here are reluctant to have babies for fear of rousing his ire. Don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard of parents going to live with their relatives until their newborn calms down. Officer Minato doesn't respond, but looks like he was listening.
がったりをふかしていない。やはり飛んではいないか。
Gatari? The word is unfamiliar, but Tadayasu stops me with a gesture before I can ask what it means. I guess I shouldn't interrupt Officer Minato's train of thought.
では当該武者はいかに現れ、いか出現
I
し
don't know, fucking took a ride with his Bugattis and just hoofed it?
鎧びを背負って侵入しても目立つ。
Also, you know, I don't know how well those things, you know, distribute their weight, but I feel like they're quite heavy. And even, you know, after a couple of days, you know, one of those stomping around in the mud would leave a pretty good indentation.
音量に優れる剣を単独で先行させ、己は別個に侵入。内部で合流して走行。 犯行に及び、そこからどうする？剣は来た時と同様に単独で離脱させればよい。だが現場に遺体はおろか、血痕すらないところから見るに、被害者を連れて、武者はいかにこの場を離脱する。
Fucking toss it in a car. After 2, maybe 3 minutes of silence, Officer Minato suddenly stands and turns to us.
まだ情報が不足している模様です。
I was gonna say like, oh yeah, just check the CCTV, camera footage. But
武者を目撃したという
it's the
人物。
40s. But then
その
again,
方
this
に
is
会っ
a
て詳しい話を伺いたい。
authoritarian police state. They probably have, surveillance systems set up.
はい。それじゃあ飲み屋通りに行かないと。
案内をお願いします。
As requested, Konatsu takes the lead. Tadayasu, Officer Minato, and I follow behind. To be honest, I don't really understand what just happened here.
夕日。いやー、港さん、思ってたよりもすごいのかもしれない
Why are
ね。
you echoing? Are we in a cave?
そうなのか。
武者と剣に関する知識が深いよ。
Mm-hmm.
僕に理解できたのは、武者が空から飛んでやって
Yeah,
きた
you're
のなら、
fucking...
その爆音で周囲の住民に
You're no
気づかれない
otaku. Tell
は
us
ず
what
が
a
ない
fucking
ってあた
guitar
りまで
is,
だけ
or
ど。
what it means.
あ、そうか。
I remember. Guitar are the back-mounted engines Musha used to fly. They always produce a lot of smoke and noise.
じゃあ武者はどうやって？
その点についてもある程度の推測は立ったけど、まだ疑問が残るってことみたい。
Rode in the back of a
そこを
truck,
調べたいんじ
jumped
ゃない
out,
かな。
rendezvoused, and hopped back in.
聞いてみちゃまずいかな、その辺。
やめとこ。今も考え中みたいだし、邪魔になるよ。ただ言えるのは、この人はどうやら本当に真相を暴く力があり
It's
そう
it's
だ
best
っ
not to
てこ
think too
と。
complicated,
そうか。
Simple is good. No harebrained theories. Tadayasu's good at just about everything, so he can be a pretty strict judge of people. His approval carries a lot of weight. Looks like we were right to follow the officer even after he tried to shake us. If we'd gone off and done our own investigation, we'd probably just be more frustrated than before. If Amusha took Ritsu, that means we're gonna have to face Rokuhara sooner or later. And yet, I get the feeling that with this guy on our side, rescuing her might not be so impossible after all.
いや、今日はまだ見てないね。もうすぐ来ると思うけど。
そうですか。どうも。
I leave the bar and head back to where Konatsu and Tadayasu are waiting. Officer Minato isn't with them.
まだ来てないってさ。
ちょっと早かったかな。
Whomst?
あのおっちゃんにも仕事があるんでしょ？
しょっちゅうこの辺にいるから、てっきりお酒を飲み歩くのが仕事なのかなと思ってたんだけど。
生産性もサービス性も
Yeah,
な
it's
さ
more
す
of
ぎ
a
るから
hobby.
職業としては成立しないんじゃないか？
少しその辺で聞き込みしてくるって。
そっか。まあこの辺りの人なら柄の悪い人間にも慣れてるだろうし。
Oh, those are the best kind of bars.
あの人は柄が悪いというのとは違うと思うけどね。なんていうか、星が悪い？
柄が悪いよりもひどい表現だけど。
Yeah, he doesn't really have
当たってるといえば当た
a
ってるか
roguish
な。
atmosphere, just kind of depressing. We keep chatting for a while, killing time while we wait for Officer Minato to come back. Normally, this isn't the place a couple of students should hang out. Still early, but the streets are full of bars and pubs. Of course, unlike the red light district across the river, these establishments are frequented mostly by factory and construction workers on the way home from the job. They don't have much money, so the bars are small and don't attract a lot of riffraff. Most passerbys recognize us and exchange friendly greetings, but not one scolds us for being here. And now that this isn't a place where we could get into real trouble. The worst thing that happens here is that you get a couple of drunks fighting in the street. Otherwise, it's totally peaceful. Usually.
なんか今日は雰囲気悪くね？
I mean, it's the first time here, I'll have to take your word for it.
そうだね。どことなくお店の人たちの顔色が冴えないし、時間を考慮しても客足が少ない気もする。
準備中のままになってるお店もあるし。なんか変だね。
Something on the
もしか
news?
してこれ。
Konatsu turns pale and covers her mouth in disbelief.
港さんオーラの影響。
そこまでか、あの人の力は。
いやー、結構笑えないね、それ。
I use my fist to make Tadayasu practice what he preaches, then scan the area for a distinctive black jacket. Sure, he's got the Aura of Doom thing going on, but even he can't ruin a peaceful day just by being in the vicinity, I think. Instead, I find something else.
なんだ。
あれ？
いるだけで街の平穏を破壊できる代物。
夕日？
ん？
ああ。
Yeah, no explanation necessary. The man is sauntering down the street towards us, dressed in a white suit bright enough to blind. Behind him are two men in absurdly garish shirts, their stride just as shameless as their leaders. And last, following at a distance, is a rather sickly-looking man of small stature. In all the wide world, only one sort of group can sport that mismatched attire, yet still seems so coordinated. This schizophrenic unity is the sort of miracle that makes you want to believe in a god. They're Yakuza, members, perhaps, of a species slightly separate from our own. If humans throw on a bunch of random clothes and gather together, the result will be a crowd of people who look like they have nothing to do with each other. If a bunch of apes, however, march down the street dressed in haphazard attire, they'll seem like a cohesive group. A strange group, but a group nonetheless. The same can be said of these fellows. Perhaps Yakuza is not a job description so much as a taxonomic category. I mean, just think about it. They make a living off other people's misery. They provide no service to society. Indeed, they only work to harm it. How can that be considered a profession? I'd be more inclined to pay a guy walking around drinking beer. Hey, don't let Sega hear you say this. Being a nuisance, therefore, is part of their natural behavior, and by no means a profession of any sort. If you look at it this way, it all makes sense. It's no more unusual for these creatures to shove pedestrians, smell like stale tobacco, and kick cans around for no good reason than it is for a stink bug to fart. That's how you have to look at it. Whatever you do, you mustn't let their antics upset you. As the superior species, it is our duty to observe them with open minds, in the hope that we might one day learn something of use to humanity. That is the proper way for intelligent life forms to behave.
カン。
何が完結したのかはよくわからないけど、どうするのさ。
Yeah, whatever it is, you
こ
should
っちの
keep it
方
in
に
your
来る
head.
みたいだよ。
どうもこうもないでしょう。道を避けて脇に寄ってそっぽを向きつつ腹の中でワッキンとか言ったりして通り過ぎるのを待つの。
Yep.
そうだね。
Sounds like the best course of action to me. The Yakuza head into the nearest store, then emerge a few minutes later with the owner bowing and scraping behind them. They repeat this process at the next store and the next. It couldn't be more obvious.
今日は集金の日だったのか。
It's like when you go up to Montreal and there's like all these fucking... You're just hanging out in a bar and then Jean-Paul comes in with his leather jacket and the owner just, takes him in the back and he walks out with an envelope. You just don't question it.
ってことはあれ、乃木山組だな。
飲み山よ、飲み山。
Rokuhara are called jackals for their greed. Makes sense then, that the parasites who live off the jackal's scraps would be called nomi, fleas. The Nokiyama crew is one of many gangs that have struck deals with Rokuhara. It used to be a small group, but they've grown exponentially since entering the shogunate's service. Now, they're the de facto lords of this slice of Kamakura. Backed by Rokuhara's authority, they extort money under the guise of taxation, then give half to their masters and keep half for themselves. Fleas indeed.
あー、かゆいかゆい。
僕が書いてあげようか、コナツン。
澄ました顔で息だけ荒げるのはなんかすごく不気味で怖いからやめなさい。っていうかね、それなら元をどうにかしてよ、元を。
Konatsu points at the Nogiyama men.
おい。
Tried to warn her, but it's too late. The man in the white suit glances our way, his attention drawn by Konatsu's pointing finger. It ends there, or it should, but fate has it out for us today, it seems. There are these strange moments, a product of coincidence or some other chain reaction, where a crowded, busy street suddenly goes silent. In such cases, the vacuum usually lasts for only an instant before people notice its existence and move to fill it. Now such a silence falls, and with the worst possible timing.
あののみさんチームを
Well, no covering up that one. I was gonna say, you know, oh, it's just the pony they noticed. Just like, be like, yeah, we noticed your suit. It was real nice. And just kind of brush it off like that. But now it's complicated. The vacuum is not filled. It persists in defiance of nature.
まずい。
I assess the situation. Konatsu is frozen stiff. The Yakuza are staring straight at her. The locals are silent as pallbearers.
やべえな、これ。
I tell myself, as though my brain hasn't reached that conclusion without me. Danger! Yes, danger, my brain understands. What it can't seem to grasp is how to proceed from there. Words like run and hide flash through my mind, but I'm unable to comprehend their meaning. I don't know what to do. Someone is tugging at my sleeve. There's nothing I can do. Someone is pounding on my shoulder. Tadayasu is urging me and Konatsu to run. By the time I finally realize it, however, the four men are right in front of us.
姉ちゃん。
Ooh, you got a bit of something on your nose there, bud. The man in the white suit addresses Konatsu, his gentle tone at odds with his hard features.
なんぞ言いましたかね今。
The immense gap between the man's appearance and his tone can only be described as queer. Regardless, no amount of sugar can hide the bitterness in this coffee. For a second, though, I'm hopeful that he's not as pissed as I expected. Maybe he's realized that there's no profit in beating up kids. Which means that the best thing to do is apologize fast and get it over with. I glance sidelong at Konatsu. She's probably thinking the same thing. I see her mouth moving, trying to form words.
あ
The man puts a hand to his ear and leans forward as though straining to listen. His buddies chuckle. Konatsu doesn't crack a smile, of course. I know better than anyone that she doesn't have the nerve.
あー、すいません、お兄さん。
Tadayasu suddenly steps between Konatsu and the man. Your sacrifice will never be forgotten. Probably means to lend her a hand, since all she's doing is gaping like a fish. I wish I could be as smooth as him.
違うんですよ、彼女は別に。
Hey, Tadayasu, why'd you stop there? You're supposed to say something like, oh, she was just praising General Nogi. Who knows? Might have worked. Come on, man. If anyone can talk these guys down, it's you. Where the hell did you go anyway? On the ground.
Oh.
There you are, lying on the ground a couple meters from where you should be. Couple meters, goddamn. Get it together, man. Did you trip or something? You're trying to match this guy's comedy act with your own. Right. Seems like a solid idea. It's all smiles from here on out.
誰がお前に聞いたかボケ。俺はこの姉ちゃんと話したんじゃ。突っ込んどるガキが。
My blood turns to ice. Tadayasu splayed out on the road. It's a punch that put him there. The man must have thrown it the second he stepped in. Didn't even get to finish his sentence. Took me a few seconds, but I finally processed the situation. These guys have no intention of going easy on us. They're dead serious. The other Yakuza don't seem the slightest bit surprised. The only reaction is a shrug from the short guy with the cane. This sort of thing must happen all the time.
どうする？
Tadayasu sits up. His expression is calm. Oh, what a tough guy. But he doesn't make any more moves. Anything else he will do will probably get him hit again. Glad he realizes that. Konatsu is as pale as a sheet. She may be headstrong, but that's not the same as having the courage to face unfettered violence. When it comes to this sort of thing, she's actually very timid. I'm surprised she's still conscious, to be honest. Though, I guess she might have fainted with her eyes open. No point looking to the locals for help. No one wants to make an enemy of the Nogiyama crew. Not with Rokuhara backing them. So, what about me?
体は動く。
Okay, but can you do anything? And then the question is, even if you can do anything, is it worth it? I feel the lightheadedness characteristic of extreme distress. Still, my body obeys my commands. So what if it does? What can I do? Pummel the 4 Yakuza into submission? Throw Konatsu over my shoulder and run?
無理だ。
There's no chance at all. No Yama men rule this field. They possess all the power. I can't defeat them. I can't defy them. No one can. I decide to bow and apologize. That's our only hope. The only viable course of action.
ごめんなさい。ほんとどうこう言ってたわけじゃないんです。ただちょっと言い間違えたっていうか、
You're just making it worse. Should have just left it at the apology.
なあ姉ちゃん。
The man doesn't even spare me a glance. He addresses Konatsu in the same sickeningly sweet tone as before.
ダメだよな。おじさんたちのことを悪く言ったりしちゃ。おじさんたちはね、六原幕府のお仕事を手伝ってるんだから。
She's not saying that because you're Yakuza. She's just a libertarian and doesn't believe in taxation.
幕府の
it's
た
nothing
め
personal.
ってことは、みんなのためってことなんだよ。そうだよね。
Yeah, where are you gonna get the money to pay for fixing up the roads?
そうだ。だからおじさんたちの悪口を言うのは良くないことだ。謝らないといけないね。
はい。ごめんなさい。
じゃあそうだね。どうしようか。
I don't know. Shake hands and send us on our way? The man doesn't seem to hear Konatsu's desperate apology, even though he was the one who demanded it. He strokes his chin theatrically.
とりあえず姉ちゃんさ、服脱ごうか。
What? One of the other men whistles, poorly. The guy with the cane just smirks and shakes his head. They're enjoying this.
服全部服脱いでさ、裸になってそこに土下座するの。それでいいや。若い子相手にきっついお仕置きはしたくないからね。
Yeah, no fun beating up kids. Hold on. How does that not qualify as harsh?
できるよね。姉ちゃんが悪いんだからね。悪いことしたらちゃんと謝らないとね。
Yeah, you know, you might get hit with public indecency, but, you know, better than, you know, some other things that could happen. How is Cowtown Naked a proper apology? What fucked up country are these guys from?
Oh.
Natsu's about to cry. I feel it coming. It's gonna be big, the kind of waterworks I haven't seen since we were little. She's gonna start bawling like a baby, all because these pricks won't leave her alone. Ogiyama's men, servants of Rokuhara, any of the 4 could beat me to a pulp with one hand tied behind his back. No matter what I do, I can't win.
だから。
So what? That's right. Remember? Didn't you hear something yesterday? Something incredibly important. What was it? Remember those words.
関係ない。
Right. That's it.
勝てるかどうかは関係ない。
I don't know. It does matter if they literally fucking beat you to death. I must fight. Therefore, I shall. To reach this conclusion does not require me to consider the possibility of success. I grab Konatsu's hand and yank her behind me. And then, I step forward to take her place.
なんじゃお前は。
Once again, the man switches personalities at the blink of an eye. Make a pretty good actor, were you so inclined.
忠康。
夕日。
手分けだ。お前は小夏を引っ張って逃げてくれ。
ああ。
俺はこいつらを足止めする。
Yeah, for all of fucking 5 seconds. I ignore the man's roar. Fuck him. I have a job to do.
無茶だと思うけどな。
知ってる。
He's right. I'm gonna get tossed aside like last week's garbage.
でも。
Without another word, Tadayasu jumps up and gets behind me. He's moving way too fast for a guy who just got punched in the face.
小夏
He's just got that extra adrenaline going because of it.
余計なことは考えなくていいからあっちにまっすぐ走って。いやほんと何も考えずに。難しかったら羊でも数えるといいかも。
おい
What's he doing next to me?
夕日一人で足止めは無理だよ。話にもならない。でも二人だったら案外どうにかなるような気がしなくもないような錯覚なような。
Crazy combo attacks? They've been practicing on the side?
どっちだよ。
無茶は分かっててやるんでしょ。
You're so right. It makes me want to puke. Ask why the hell you were joining me?
なめとんかお前ら
Yup. Yeah, pretty much. We're taking on 4 gangsters, fleas though they may be. Crazy just about sums it up. The man in the white suit and his garishly dressed buddies are purple with rage. The sickly-looking guy, meanwhile, looks as amused as ever.
小夏走れって言ったら走れよ。
She doesn't respond, but I can't spare a glance to make sure she heard me.
とりあえず泣かれるのは防げたよな。
That's a small satisfaction, but I never want to hear that awful wailing of hers again. And I never want to see her cry like that again either.
ただやすいいか。
ちっともよくはないけど事態が好転する見込みがないのなら別にいつでもいいんじゃないって意味ではいいよ。
Fuck it, we ball.
ああそうかい。
I take one step forward, my morale truly bolstered by Tadayasu's words. As expected, the Yakuza do not fall back. One more step will put me within striking distance. There's no way we can win. Even so, this is my time to fight. And so, I take the final...
お待ちください。
Voice from out of left field brings me up short. Tadayasu screeches to a halt beside me. The only thing that keeps us from getting put on our asses right there is the fact that the gangsters are just as distracted. Spin around to face the speaker, though of course I already know who it is.
港さん
Officer Minato strides up through the crowd and interposes himself between us and the Yakuza. Given how close we were to the men, this puts him close enough to feel their breath against his face. Tadayasu and I quickly step back to give him some space. Officer Minato doesn't seem to mind one way or the other. I realize that for the first time since this whole thing started, the man with the cane has stopped smiling.
なんだあんたは
For a second, the man in the white suit seems taken aback. He's tall, but Officer Minato still has half a head on him. Yeah, but he's like a fucking gangly beanpole. From behind, Officer Minato appears to blot out the sky. I've never seen a back so dependable. The tension drains out of me like air from a balloon. Almost collapse in relief.
警察です。
ああ警察
The man immediately regains his confidence. I don't blame him. They have no reason to fear the law with Rokuhara backing them.
でもこの人は違う。
Yeah, he's a fake police officer who's off the books. So he's even less. He's even willing to go up against Kinsego. The man in this suit should be afraid. I bet he doesn't have the courage to challenge Kinsego. When we attacked Officer Minato yesterday, he didn't do anything because we were just stupid kids. Now there's no reason for him to hold back. Not against Rokuhara dogs.
警察がなんじゃ俺ら六原お雇いのもんだと知ったらんか
Oh damn, that's crazy, me too.
いえ、知りませんでした。ご説明に感謝します。
Officer Minato bows, polite as always. Damn, it's like he's completely unafraid.
バカにしてんか
そういった意図はありません。
The gangster flips out, of course, but Officer Minato stays icy cool. Man might as well be shouting at air.
なら何のつもりじゃ
あちらの3人。
The man might explode into violence at any moment, but Officer Minato looks away to point at us.
事情あって、彼らは現在、自分の保護下にあります。
Time to get the shit kicked out of you like a cool
彼ら
adult.
が問題を起こしたのなら、自分に解決の義務があります。その義務を遂行している次第です。
Turns back to face the gangsters. Though they're only a few meters away, I somehow know they'll never reach us. Not through him.
キム？
彼らが何か問題を起こしましたか？
問題？ああ、問題はあいつらな、六原親隊の俺らをバカにしくさった。その詫びを入れさせとったんじゃ。なんか文句あるか？
なるほど。了解しました。
Ah, yes, you have elucidated my mind. Thank you. Officer Minato nods agreeably, but shows no sign of backing down.
ならどかんかい。
その前に、あなた方の要求を伺いたい。
Yeah, they can apologize from there, can't they?
彼らに対して、どのような謝罪を求めるのですか？
まずは土下座。そらたそっからのことじゃ。
お断りします。
Like doing a full one where like you put like your toes are on the ground and like your fucking heel is like touching your butt. Like I would totally just like snap a hamstring if I tried that. At last, he defies them outright.
あんじゃと？
I'm super not flexible anymore.
悪口一つに土下座は見合わない。しかもそれだけでは済まない模様。相応の謝罪による納得を求めます。陳謝の言葉と一例でいかがか？
Yep, full 90 degrees.
だほ！そんなんで乃木山組のメンツが立つか？
立ちませんか？
立たんわい！
では、陳謝を400字詰め原稿用紙5枚以上の文面で提出する形では。
どうもならんわ。なめさらすんの大概にせえ。乃木山組やな、六原の大門しょっとるんじゃぞ。半端な格好で済まされっか。
了解しました。そこまで言われるのなら
That would
やむを
be.
得ません。
He shifts his weight forward. The man in the suit flinches and steps back. Too slow, dumbass. No way punks like you can take him. He's strong. I know he is. He taught me the most important lesson I've ever learned. And I know there's more where that came from. Now he's gonna apologize on your behalf? You fleas are just the first. Time for this cop to show you what fighting evil is all about. Huh? Wait. Huh?
何やっとんじゃ。
土下座です。
Yeah, learn to pick your battles, bud. Officer Minato drops to his knees and touches his forehead to the dirt. His voice is as calm as ever, but... Yeah, he's definitely kowtowing. Never seen anyone kowtow so well.
これにて勘弁していただきたい。
Well, then you get your power play because you got a cop to do it, so... It's even better. No, really. What's going on here? Silence reigns for several seconds, and is shattered by the Nogiyama men's laughter.
なんじゃそら。散々もったいつけといて見かけ倒しかい。
Oh yeah, nothing's gonna come from getting a fight in the street. The man in the suit convulses with mirth. His friends in the bright shirts are doubled over, clutching their bellies with tears in their eyes. I even hear a few snickers from the supposedly neutral onlookers.
土下座かい。ガキどもの代わりに土下座するってか。
You want him to get naked too?
はい。
頭の下げ方が足らんわ。
The man plants his sandaled foot on the officer's head. Officer Minato doesn't move a muscle. Lets the man grind his face into the dirt. Doesn't even make a sound. Emboldened by this, the man and his two friends start throwing kicks. The man with the cane, meanwhile, watches in stone-faced silence. The gangster's rain blows on him from all sides, but Officer Minato doesn't resist. He just kneels there and takes it. What's going on here? Aren't there times you have to fight? Isn't this one of them? These fleas work for Rokuhara. They're the bad guys. Fight them, damn it. You're the guy who's gonna stop Kinseigo, aren't you? How can you fight Kinseigo when you won't even defend yourself from some punks? Or was it all...
口だけだったのかよ。
I mean, no, but, like, getting fucking put in the hospital from fighting these guys, or worse, you know, not very conductive to the investigation, so sometimes you just gotta take your lumps. Officer Minato doesn't stand, lets them kink and stomp on him, bowing all the while. Fucking lame, man.
なんて面白いやつじゃ。
よし、今度はな、お前、芸をやってみろ。
芸とは
3遍回って、ワンと泣いてみ。
Bark, bark. Stop it. I can't take any more.
犬のモノマネですか？
Oh, that's easy.
そうじゃ、できんのか？
それを謝罪として求められるのであれば、実行するまでです。
どこまでヘタレなんじゃこいつは。よし、ほれやってみんかい。
はい。
No.
その辺で止めたらどうよ、反町。
That was my best, God, what do you call it? Like, is it explosive? No, not explosive. It's not plosive. That's like when you make a popping sound with your pee. No, not like when you're fucking pissing, but like the... I have my pop filters. Those are plosives. You know what I mean. I didn't want to peek my microphone. The voice cuts through the laughter. I turn to look, and there, the sun at her back, stands a girl whose sheer force of presence rivals, if not surpasses, that of any other person here. At first glance, she looks like a normal girl. I'd place her a little older than us, though depending on the angle, the fineness of her features might make her seem years younger. But there's nothing normal about her eyes. They are fierce and hawk-like, blazing with strength.
一条さんだ。
Ooh.
Eh?
Well, she's got a cool, like, fucking scarf tassel thing from her... Well, yeah, that would be just a scarf that's on a sailor suit, but you don't really think of it like that. Anyway. She's gonna do a cool fucking rider kick.
うちの上の学校の。ほら、ちょっと前に逗子の不良グループが鎌倉制服とかアホなこと言って暴れ
Fucking
出した時、
1940s Japanese
一人で潰
gangbangers.
したって
Okay.
いう伝説の。
あの人か、夜なの一条。
They fucking get their crack from Reagan, too. I've heard the rumors. As her name, which means a straight line, suggests, Ichijo hates anything that deviates from the straight and narrow path. She'll pick a fight with anyone who gets on her bad side, and if the stories are true, she's never been beaten. But because she's such a hard ass, no one wants to do anything with her. She has no friends, and trouble follows her like an abandoned puppy. That's why people treat her like a delinquent, even though she's never done anything wrong herself. It's even said that Rokuhara is numbered among her opponents. She hasn't gone against them openly, of course, but they say that she staged covert attacks on their operations. It's a little hard to swallow, but then, only she knows the truth. All I can say is that those are the eyes of someone who's beaten down anything that came at her, big or small, and keep right on walking.
今度は誰じゃ。
潮時ってもんがあるだろ。
Ichijo ignores the man in white. Stares fixed on the short man with the cane.
そいつは土下座して詫びを入れた。ならそれでいいとしとけよ。殴れば殴るだけ金になるってわけでもねえだろ別に。
しかしね、ジョーさん。
His voice also just fucking fired some neurons. The man speaks for the first time. His voice is soft and silky smooth.
あたしらはメンツで生きてるんで、金よりもこっちの方が重いんでさ。
Okay, yeah, that's... Again, I'm fucking Little Buster's brain rot. That's just Kyosuke. I completely forget his voice actor's name. He's a real good voice actor, too. At least, that's the excuse the man's eyes seem to add.
けど、金もなきゃ困るんだろ。
Ichijo waves at the shops lining the streets.
いつまでももたついてると、ここら一体軒並み臨時休業になっちまうな。金集めに失敗したら、親にどう言い訳するんだ？ちょっと遊んでましたって。
The man giggles, a thoroughly loathsome sound, but says nothing.
メンツなら十分立ったろ。大の男。それも朝日のもんどころ担いでる野郎が頭下げたんだ。
You can walk off with your fucking chest puffed out with like a swaggering
満足していい潮
stride.
時だろ。あんたらの組に逆らおうなんてやつは、これで当分出ねえだろうからな。
Except me. the fire in her eyes declares. I do not doubt for a second that the man understands her perfectly.
あとはビビった連中から好きなだけ金を集めりゃいいだろ。反町一蔵。
After all, I can't see any other reason for his laughter. I mean, unless the sound of one's name is something to cackle at. Nice shirt, though. I dig the butterflies. Like, I'm all about fucking floral Hawaiian shirts, but never really thought about, you know, butterfly one. But I can see it working. The man with the cane, Sorimachi Ichizo, titters uncontrollably. Sounds more like a frog than a man. I shiver, instinctively repulsed. After a few moments of giggling, Sorimachi turns his crooked smile to the man in the white suit, who has remained silent this whole time.
武藤さん、構いませんかね。
反町。
ジョーさんの言うことも的外れじゃありませんよ。これ以上ここで遊んでても、そう楽しいことはないんじゃないですかね。
Gotta get those protection payments.
それより仕事をしませんと。まさかイルスを使うようなバカがいるとは思いませんけどね。金を隠して上納金を値切るくらいの浅知恵なら出すやつはいるかもしれませんや。そいつはちょっと面倒じゃないですかね。
The man in the suit falls silent, considering his options. Apparently, berating the smaller man for undermining his authority is not one of them. After several seconds, he turns and walks away without another word. His two underlings follow obediently. Not one of them spares a second glance. Sorimachi joins them, still smiling that limp-lipped smile, and then they are gone. Little by little, sound and color return to the street.
夕日。え
Tedayasu's voice snaps me out of my daze.
終わったみたいだよ。小夏、大丈夫？
I mean, you don't think Minato needs to be asked if he's alright? He just got the shit kicked out of him. She's still pretty out of it, looks like. Can't blame her.
つか、忠康、大丈夫か？こっちのセリフだ。
口の中を少し切っただけ。大したことはないよ。
Oh, that's
歯は
worse.
折れ
You
てない。
fucking just rattle your jaw and you bite your lip.
うまいもんだね。歯の上から殴ると拳の方も痛むから避けたんだろうな。
You go for the jaw? You know, you got that wiggle, you know, you hit it and it moves with your fist, so. Why does he sound so impressed? Anyway, I guess he's fine, if he's talking like that. Tadayasu wipes blood from his nose, wondering something about how air shoots out of his ears each time he tries to blow it clear. Catch a glimpse of a school uniform over his shoulder. Ichijo is leaving. Damn, I can't just let her go like this. Don't intend to go along with rogues like her. That's no reason not to thank her for saving our asses.
一条さん、
She glances over her shoulder.
ありがとうございました。
I bow low to show my gratitude. I see her feet coming to a stop. She's wearing normal sneakers, much to my relief. I've expected her to be wearing Geta sandals.
ああ、
Just clocking around, you know, wearing wood. It's not very good for your arch support. She replies listlessly, like she can't be bothered. Then another voice addresses her.
助けられました。感謝します。
お前は話しかけるの。
This time, she doesn't even offer a glance.
ヘタレが映る。うせろ。
He turns and leaves without another word.
乃木山の連中はどうでもいい。あれはただのチンピラだ。
Her voice is distant, and she hasn't turned to face us. She's obviously in no mood for a conversation. Yeah, they're gonna forget you after this. You know, they got their yucks, but, you know, they got other shit to do, bigger fish to fry.
けど、仕込み杖を持ってた男。あいつに関わるのはよせ。六原お雇い組の居候に加えて、
Ooh, fun!
GHQ の御用聞きまでやってる。厄介な野郎だ。
Government contractor, my favorite.
チンピラはチンピラだけどな。
Mainly because they have a union, and they get lunch breaks, and they don't have to follow dumb orders, because they're like, I'll just take this up with my union rep and that ends that.
立ち回りのうまいチンピラなんだ。下手につつくと何が出てくるかわからねえ。近寄らないのが一番だ。覚えときなよ。
Without waiting for me to respond, she turns away and resumes walking into the sunset. That was a warning, I realized a few moments later. It was delivered so brusquely that I almost didn't notice. Should I have thanked her for it? Too late now. All I can do is watch her recede into the distance. Someone taps my shoulder. I turn to see Tadayasu pointing his thumb down the road.
どうする?
A man in a black coat is ducking into a nearby store. I guess he means to continue his investigation, even amid the looks of undisguised contempt he's receiving from everyone nearby. The meaning of Tadayasu's question is obvious. Wants to know if we should stay with him.
帰ろう。
Nightfall is fast approaching. It'll soon be too late for us to move about. Not that I'd have answered differently otherwise. Neither Tadayasu nor Konatsu objects.
災難だったよね、ミド。
いや、別だ。
怪我の巧妙かしら。あの子たちとは離れられたみたい。
ああ。
We're gonna, you know, got side investigations going. You know, got another crew besides us.
ミド、どうしたの？
いささか。だが。昨日お前が遭遇したという兵隊が
ええ。
卵を与えられているのなら俺たちのことを知っていても不思議ではない。そやつはお前を狙って現れたのだろうと。
違うと？
狙っていたのはあくまであの学生たちであり、お前との遭遇と戦闘はその過程で発生したに過ぎないという可能性を否定しかねる。
I literally can't pronounce it any other way. It's like I say egg, like what comes in a Crayola box? It's crayons. I just say things weird. Don't worry about it.
そうね。そもそもそれを警戒して私がついていたのだし。
敵が寄生体だからといってその可能性を考慮から外したのはやや。
あの寄生体は以前も現在も少年少女の拉致だけが目的で。私たちのことは眼中にないという。
その可能性もある。思えばあいつは寄生体にほとんど何も教えないことの方が多かった。
寄生されたことにさえ気づいていない例もあったのがね。
ああ。結論としてあの学生3人から完全に目を離すのは危険だと考
える。ならどうする？
その必要がある。
了解。
Sure, man. Talk with your robot.
明日からどうする？
Worry about our dudes being possible sleeper agents, I guess. By the time Konatsu finally speaks to me, standing in the doorway of my room, it's close to bedtime. After leaving the bar district and splitting up with Tadayasu, we headed home, ate, and took our baths. During that time, we each only spoke to Konatsu's parents. They seemed surprised that we weren't bouncing off the walls like usual, but not enough to ask us what happened. I'm glad we didn't have to think up some excuse. It wouldn't have been so easy if we'd been bruised and bloody, though. Worried Tadayasu might have trouble explaining his injuries.
どうもこうもねえよ。
ねえよって言っても。
別に変わらねえ。律を探す。
でも。
But Shane cuts herself off. But I know what she was gonna say.
最初から分かってたのにな。警察なんか当てにならない。
I mean, he was just being a reasonable adult. I hate to think that I trusted that man for even a day. It's entirely my fault, of course. He didn't ask me to put my faith in him. Still, I can't suppress my anger. At least that anger has helped me to move on. Now I can forget about him and go back to believing only in myself and my friends. Like it should be. Like it's always been.
あの一条って人に相談してみようかなんてこともちょっと考えたけどさ。
I steal a glance at Konatsu's face. It looks like she was thinking the same thing.
けどもういいよな。勝手に期待して勝手に失望するなんてのは。それでいいだろ。
Yeah, no more party member invites. She nods. I guess she came to the same conclusion. Day hasn't been a complete waste, at least. We have proof that Musha was involved, and we know that the next question is how that Musha left the bamboo grove without being seen. We can find the answer. Probably find the culprit.
もう寝ろよ。今日は疲れたろ。いろいろ。
あんたもね。
ああ。
I reply with a yawn. I'm exhausted. My body and spirit are dead weight, though it's difficult to say which is heavier. As soon as Kanatsu leaves, I'll probably collapse into bed and not wake up till morning. I can't wait. But Kanatsu doesn't leave. She's still standing in my doorway.
あ？どうした？
You score some affection points for being a cool hero guy? She mutters incoherently, casting her gaze left, right, and to the ceiling. Either she's having a brain spasm, or she's on guard against a ninja. I'm not sure which would be worse. I've never seen her like this before.
何やってんだ？
さ。
あ
んた。
Alright.
今日、何の役にも立たなかったじゃない？
I collapse onto my bed. I feel like I might pass out and never wake up again. Never mind till morning.
そうじゃなくて。
なんなんだよ。
You better act fast if you want to pull me out of this pit of despair.
確かに今日あんたは私のピンチだってのに何の役にも立たなくてかっこいいところは全部一条さんに持っていかれてて男としての株を下げに下げて最安値になっちゃったけど。
But? You trying to kill me with words?
でも。
There's always a but.
何が？
まるで何の役にも立たなくてかかしも同然っていうかむしろかかしの方がスズメを追い払うだけマシかもって感じだったんだが。
しつこいよ。
ね
え、get to the point.
助けてくれたのは。
Yep, points for
ちゃ
trying.
んと分かってるから。ありがとう。言いたかったのはそれだけ。
And don't be so weird about it.
じゃあ。おやすみ。
おう。
Okay, bye. I keep staring at the door for a while after it closes. Then, I cast my gaze left, right, and to the ceiling, rubbing my nose all the while. I'm not on the lookout for ninja, so I must be having a brain spasm. Then, I fall into my bed and pass out. Before I lose consciousness, I have a strange feeling that my body and spirit have grown lighter. I think you just have a carbon monoxide leak in your house.
六原幕府とは、もともとの所在地が京都六原だったことからの通称で、公式には陸 F と称されるが。
Wow, that's a real neat history lesson there, Teach. But we're gonna have to pick up on that lesson next time, on the next episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa, because I'm starting to feel the drink. You know, I didn't really have much to eat today. I'm super dehydrated. I have no water in my body. You know, I'm more whiskey than, you know, man at this point. So before I get like real bad, gonna tap out. So once again, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell. See you guys all next time for the next episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa. Catch you guys there. Later. Bye.